Welcome back to episode I do not know of the Unprofessional
12. 12. 1, 2.
episode 12 of the Unprofessional Experts podcast. Have a pretty damn good show today. Obviously Super Bowl was last night, so we're gonna kind of recap what went on. And then we're also gonna talk about Shawn and I actually had the lucky experience last year to go to the Super Bowl. So, thanks to me. You're welcome. We're going to talk about kind of our experience, all that good stuff. And then we've got quite a few questions that we're going to kind of just shoot back and forth just throughout the episode today. So.
It stays on, the short hair headset stays on a little bit. We're both repping jerseys today. This is the first time we've done this.
Are.
Jeremy says it's
Officially baseball season.
Jeremy says it's baseball season. I say we're in the middle of hockey season. We don't talk about hockey too much because, the Blackhawks are in last, so we try not to talk about that too much, but here we are anyway. I wanted to say something before we got going. So what was supposed to be Friday's episode got posted on Saturday. Well, I didn't know, but the file got corrupted, and so the full video actually didn't get uploaded till today, Monday. So our Super Bowl predictions video went out on Monday, the day after the Super Bowl. But can we talk about how close? Can we talk about how close I was to that final score? I said 37-35. I should have thought
1 point, 1 fucking point. That's crazy.
What's funny is I didn't even think about a score. I just said, yeah, high scoring game. I didn't even do the math. I tried pulling up a calculator, and that's why the video got stopped, because I was trying to do division on the freaking calculator thing. And yeah, also this jersey is extremely hot, and I'm thinking about opening up that window over there, but that's I just can feel the wind blowing on the mic, and I just know this is not going to be good, so we're just going to kind of roll the sleeves up a little bit. Who are you repping? Let's let the people see for a second.
I am repping newly acquired shortstop for the Chicago Cubs, Dansby Swanson.
You are so loud. I hope I'm not that loud, but my goodness, man, you are loud.
You sound good, man. You sound good.
Well, I know, but on my end, because I'm recording. And I am repping Mr. Conn Smythe, Duncan Keith himself. I love this jersey. I've missed my Duncan Keith. Come back. We need you, please. Last place is not a fun place to be. Oh, man. But let's get into our sort of recap, starting this week up with what happened. Obviously, we know the Chiefs won. A lot of records were broken. A lot of streaks were broken.
Yes.
The biggest streak, I think, being the fact that the winner of the coin toss won the game for the first time in 8 seasons.
I mean, I wouldn't even say that's the biggest one.
No, I know.
Well, that's a big one.
That's a big one.
But the other big one, the same team, MVP, also won the Super Bowl.
Yeah. He also won Super Bowl MVP, too. I don't know when the last time.
Super Bowl MVP.
I don't know when the last time that was done. Other records that were broken is Jalen Hurts tied the most touchdowns in a Super Bowl record.
Mm-hmm.
Most rushing yards by a quarterback was also Jalen Hurts with 70.
Yep.
Kadarius Toney with the largest punt return in Super Bowl history. That was almost the first punt return for a touchdown in Super Bowl history. 5 yards away.
I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet, especially in the
57. Yeah, that was 57.
57 Super Bowls?
Yeah.
That it has not happened once.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane to me. Hurts also made history with the first player in NFL history in the Super Bowl to have 300 passing yards, 70 rushing yards, and a touchdown run in a game. Most points scored by a losing team with 35. And Patrick Mahomes is the first quarterback to be perfect. Not perfect QBR, but did not take a sack or turn over the ball in the Super Bowl. First quarterback to ever do that.
Yeah.
Andy Reid is the first coach to be a former team that he once was the head coach for. Those are the records that were broken.
That's insane, man.
Yeah. I thought for
really
sure.
Is insane.
Yeah. So, where do we want to start? There's so much we can talk about for this one. It was absolutely, first off, incredible game. Absolutely, just
from start to finish. It was an excellent game.
If you wanted a high scoring game, that's what it was. I said I was gonna be high scoring. That's what it was. It was great.
I can honestly say I'd put it in like a top 7 Super Bowl.
I think so. I think it was definitely a better game than I initially thought. I kind of thought that the Eagles defense was going to kind of just come out and just not be able to do anything against Kansas City. They were going to be down early, but it was actually the opposite. Kansas City was down early and played catch up until the final, 7 minutes of the game? of game time. 7:30. It was
yeah. I think that's when they took the lead.
yeah, and then they didn't give it back.
Scored, yeah.
Yeah. Really, it was almost a perfect game from both quarterbacks. The only turnover in the entire game was that scoop and score fumble that Jalen Hurts had.
Yeah.
And that was an absolutely massive play in that moment.
Yeah. So I was telling you, I have quite a few questions to ask you.
Yeah.
First one ties in with this. Actually, I've got 2 questions for you.
All right, let's hear them.
First question: who do you put this loss on for the Eagles?
You can't really put it on a single person because both teams played incredibly well. I guess you don't, because the most points scored by a losing team, so you can't really put it on anyone on the offense. The defense was playing a super high-powered offense, and you predicted that the defense was going to come out and just be all over Patrick Mahomes. But as I just said, Patrick Mahomes didn't take a single sack.
No.
Patrick Mahomes, I saw a TikTok video real fast. There was a video, I think I sent it to you. Mahomes, after the game, was doing his interview, and Travis Kelce was answering all the questions, and you could see Mahomes. They had gave Mahomes something in that locker room to take away that pain, and it was something fierce and something strong, because he was just like...
He was on something, that's right.
Whatever, I'm just happy to be here.
He had 44 rushing yards.
Yeah. That was a lot of those came after you, because I remember we were texting in the game, because unfortunately with you being where you are and where I am, we can't be together for the game. So I remember texting you back and forth, and there was a few times I texted you, what hurt ankle? I think you got annoyed with me a little bit because you just stopped responding. But yeah, no. So I can't really blame it on any one person. I mean, I think the obvious ones you can look at was, I can't remember the corner who gave up the
Bradbury.
Yeah, Bradbury. I think Bradbury's the first one you can kind of look at, but then again, it's one play. So one play I don't think can make or break, because they were going to kick the field goal anyway. It was just a matter of how much time they were going to have. You could put it on.
The thing with Bradbury is
everybody
in the NFL knows there's holding pretty much on 99% of the plays.
Yes.
It's whether the ref wants to call it or not.
But
did the ref calling it in the biggest moment in the biggest game? Come on, if he didn't call that the entire game, why are you gonna start calling it now?
And I get it, because also for the same moment, it's the biggest moment of the game. You want these plays at those times to also be perfect. And Kadarius Toney said himself after the game, I held him. He admitted, I held him, and I was hoping to get away with it. He didn't. And at the time, I even texted you, I don't know about that flag. I didn't like it. But as soon as Kadarius Toney came out and said, yeah, I held him, it happened.
Even Greg Olsen was like, no, that's
oh, yeah.
very.
It was a very interesting call, and at the moment, and like I said, I don't think it had as large of an outcome on the game as everyone's trying to make it out to be. I think no matter what, Kansas City was going to kick the field goal. The only difference is Kansas City ran what, another minute off the clock, if that.
So if they would have kicked the field goal, they would have had probably a minute and 40 seconds.
Yeah, which don't
of clock time
with no timeouts.
I think they would have had one timeout.
Did they have one left?
I think they would have had one timeout left.
Okay.
So, could they have came back and scored a field goal?
Absolutely.
Maybe, but
obviously we'll never know now. But yeah, so as much as everyone's making it out to be this huge, massive deal, and at the time I thought it was a huge deal too. One, the refs were very quiet throughout this game. I think there was only 10 penalties called. Everyone was saying
this is a lot of penalties.
Everyone was saying this was a terribly officiated game, and it was the refs versus the Eagles. And I get the Eagles had penalties, but a lot of the Eagles penalties were very valid.
There were 9 penalties called.
Yeah, so less
6 against the Eagles and 3 against the Chiefs.
Yeah, so, and if I remember right, the Chiefs were actually pretty decent chunk of yardage too for those 3 penalties. I believe they had 25 yards of penalties.
Chiefs had 3 penalties for 14 yards. Eagles had 6 for 33. Because there was no pass interference. It was
there wasn't
holding, delay of game. I think that's about it.
Yeah, holding, delay of game, false start. I think there was one false start from KC.
Oh, the not offsides, but
he jumped the snap. I know.
Yeah,
but yeah, very clean game. I didn't think it was much of it was a very entertaining game as a fan. like my girlfriend, she was with me, and she was like, so this is the advantage of not actually having a play in who, like, caring who wins the game, is you can just sit there and respect amazing plays, because this was
you can enjoy
this
the
was
game.
right after the AJ Brown catch for the touchdown. That was an absolute bomb, and everyone was kind of, I've seen now people are kind of hating on how Jalen Hurts threw the ball. But I think it was perfectly placed. It was an absolute dot because he threw it to the point where A.J. Brown was the only person who was going to get it. Because, you don't want to lead it too far where the defender's going to get there. So he threw that ball exactly where it had to be, where either A.J. Brown was going to catch it or nobody was.
Yeah.
And so I mean, so I don't have too much of an issue with the reffing this game. Like I said, the one call, it can go both ways. I get why people are upset about it, but at the same time, like Cardarius Tooney said after the game, like right after the game, this wasn't even like the next day. This wasn't a couple hours later. He said, "Yeah, I held him. I was hoping to get away with it." When he said, "I held him and I was hoping to get away with it" in the same sentence, I kind of stopped caring about the hold.
Yeah.
Because when he can admit it, it's good. I have a question for you though now.
All right, let's hear it.
So when Kansas City is lining up to take that last field goal, Andy Reid takes a timeout with 1 second left on the clock, with 11 seconds left.
Okay.
Why doesn't he take the delay of game there? Because a delay of game within 2 minutes runs 10 seconds off the clock. That puts 1 second on the clock. He calls his timeout. It leaves only 1 second.
Because, so my reasoning is the Harrison Butker, the kicker, already missed a field goal earlier from... I think that's similar.
38. It was 38 yards. This one was from 20. This was 24, so 14 yards closer.
24, add in what, 5 yards, would have been 29.
No, it was a 24-yard kick versus a 38-yard kick.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the kick for the win.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
They took the delay game, extra 5 yards added, would have been a 29-yard kick.
I see what you're saying now.
Then you got to also remember, the field was shit.
Oh, it was an awful field.
The field was terrible.
Do you know how much the NFL spent on
$100,000
for it to play like that?
Yes.
And I know a lot of people are saying like, "Oh, well, that was such a terrible field for the Eagles." Yeah, KC played on the same field.
Exactly. You even saw it during the game. KC was slipping and all throughout the field too.
That kickoff, they're replaying it. He just rolled his ankle. Like,
yep. Anyways, so back to that. So yeah, field was shit. Bucker was dealing with an ankle injury too. He wasn't 100%.
Yeah.
He was dealing with an ankle injury. His ankle was messed up. So I would have been a lot more. I would have been happier with them taking the timeout, having the chance of them getting a Hail Mary, because obviously it's a Hail Mary. What are the odds of it?
But at the same time, though, you gotta look at it both ways. If you if you run it down to that 1 second, you take the field goal, okay, you win the game. If you don't, then you have a tie. You go to overtime. Meanwhile, otherwise you have the chance to kick it off to them. And then they have 4 seconds, 8 seconds. I thought they actually should have had 5 seconds, but whatever. His hand got tipped on that pass, but had that pass got completed and it was a touchdown, then they would have lost no matter what. So why not take the delay game and rather go to overtime than losing?
I mean, it's a question. It's a valid question, but you can ask, you can go both sides of it,
Yeah. No,
there's reasons on both sides why he did it and why he didn't do it.
And right as soon as it happened, I looked at one of the hosts of the party I was at, and I was like, why not take the delay game there? I was like, it runs 10 seconds off the clock. Yeah, it's a 5-yard penalty, but this is the professional kicker. He should be able to go out there and make that kick.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So, next question I have for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, obviously, there's the curse of a first-time quarterback going to the Super Bowl and they lose. They never go back and win the Super Bowl. Is Jalen Hurts going to make it back to a Super Bowl and win?
Absolutely. I think it's without a doubt. Jalen Hurts, him and that team are very young and very special. I saw a graphic of the starting offense for the Eagles. Only one player was not drafted. A.J. Brown. All the rest of them have been drafted. Now, don't get me wrong. I think there's a very high chance that Jason Kelce retires after this year. So they'll need a new center. I think Jason's up there in age, so I could see him going. But I think for the most part, that offense is still going to be the same offense it is next year. And I think that defense is only going to get better. And it's already
crazy.
What's that?
The Eagles have 2 first-round picks.
Yeah. I think this Eagles team is not done, and it will win a Super Bowl, and Jalen Hurts will win one, and it's not a matter of if, it's more of a matter of when.
Win. Okay, I can respect that.
Yeah,
I can respect that.
yeah. I got a question for you.
All right.
I gotta tease this a little bit. Did the Tubi TV commercial get you? The Tubi, or were you not around?
No, it didn't actually.
No.
No, it didn't get me.
I was at the part. I want you to tell your story first.
No, so I think I might have just been like on my phone or something, and I heard the commentators talking about it, and then like the game went silent, and then it was like the Tubi commercial. I was like,
oh, so you missed it.
That? No, I watched it. I watched it. I just wasn't like.
You missed the core of it though.
I wasn't like immersed into it, I guess.
I was at the party I was at. We were downstairs and we were watching it, and I'm like watching it, and all of a sudden it starts happening. And at first I was like, "What the heck?" And then I realized, as soon as after half a second, I was like, "Oh, it's a commercial." Because earlier I had noticed that the TV was an LG. Like I just noticed things like that. And so as soon as I saw the dash, I was like, "That's a Samsung dash, not an LG dash. Why would that pop up?" And everyone in the room was freaking out. They're like, "Who's got the remote? Who's got?" I was like, "It's a commercial." I yelled it like 3 times before it even got to the point where it goes to Mr. and Mrs. Smith, which, by the way, incredible movie. I loved how that's the movie they picked. But so everyone's like freaking out, and I'm like, "It's a commercial." Even look at, because they have in their basement, they had a TV behind the bar, and then they had like another living room a little bit down the way there. And I like looked over and I saw both of them were doing it, but no one was at the other TV. I was like, "It's a commercial," and I had to say it like 3 times, and then eventually they all kind of stopped and looked at it, and they were like, "Oh, okay." But
awesome.
In my mind, that was the best commercial, just because you know how many families that decided to just like got destroyed for those 10 seconds of that one commercial.
Oh yeah, I've been seeing a whole bunch of crap on TikTok about it.
Oh, it's been memed. It's been great. I love it, and I can't wait to see more of it. That was an incredible commercial.
I have a pretty hard-hitting question for you.
Okay.
So, Mahomes and the Kelsey brothers, are they all first ballot Hall of Famers? If they retired right now, are they all first ballot Hall of Famers?
Yeah. Patrick Mahomes is one of only 13 quarterbacks to win 2 Super Bowls. He has 2 MVPs, an Offensive Player of the Year, 2 Super Bowl MVPs. Travis Kelce is one of the best tight ends to ever touch the turf. I believe he's now number 2 in receiving yards all time.
He's also tied with postseason touchdowns.
And that's not just for tight ends. That's for any receiving. I'll say that's for any receivers. Jason Kelce, he's what, a 7-time All-Pro? He's up
6-time All-Pro, and then he has 16 sacks allowed in like 10,000 snaps or something like that.
So
absurd number.
All 3 of them are absolutely first ballot Hall of Famers, and if they're not, then it's rigged, scripted. Scripted.
We already know the Hall of Fame is rigged, man.
Yeah, but no, absolutely. I think all 3 of those guys are absolute first ballot Hall of Famers, and I don't think it's much of a question at this point. It's not a matter of if they are. It's a matter of how much more are they going to do. How many more records are they going to break? Is Mahomes truly the next Brady? Is he going to get 8 rings? Is he gonna stay in Kansas City the entire time?
Ooh, that's a good one there.
Yeah,
that's a good question.
There you go. Do you think? Because you gotta think about it. Eventually, he obviously huge contract. First quarterback. Also, I don't know if I mentioned this one. First quarterback to be a top 5 paid quarterback at the time to win a Super Bowl. We now have to change that. No quarterback has been in the top 5 for highest paid quarterbacks in the league at the time that they've won a Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. We now have to change that list to the top 3 because he's number 4.
So Mahomes signed the 10-year deal 2 years ago? I think.
No, it was after the first Super Bowl he won. But yeah, that would have been
2 or 3 years ago.
I'm looking it up.
So they won it in 2020. And then I think they might have signed. Yeah, I think they might have signed it after. So he's in contract.
He is signed through 2032. He will be 37 years old.
So honestly, as long as the Chiefs keep winning, I don't see him leaving Kansas City.
But the problem becomes,
I don't see him leaving Kansas City. They retire his number, they build a statue, and he becomes part owner of the fucking Chiefs, man.
Let me throw a curveball in there. His contract is so large that no one comes and they stop winning. and now they need to unload that contract to rebuild. What if it's not because he wants to leave, but because they need him to leave? Do you think that's more likely?
So here's the thing about this. Mahomes, he's clearly defined himself as a generational player. He is a Manning. He's a Brady. As long as he plays like he...
Speaking of Mahomes real fast, he is currently at Disneyland with his wife and 2 kids. He just posted a photo an hour ago.
Oh, jeez. Do you see what's the fuck's his brother name?
Jackson.
He made a TikTok after the game.
Did he really?
He made a TikTok after the game. Anyways, so think about this past season. A lot of experts and stuff said Mahomes is done, traded away Tyreek Hill, they got to reload,
And I'm not gonna...
They win the Super Bowl.
I'm not gonna...
As long as the Chiefs have Mahomes, they're Super Bowl contenders.
And I do believe that. And because I was initially one of those guys too that said the same thing. I said I don't know if this team can win without weapons. Like, this will be the first time
anybody outside of Kansas City was like that.
Yeah, I think the only people, because even you heard Travis Kelce say it, put some respect on our name.
Yep.
And absolutely, and I think maybe the question no longer becomes, will this team win with Patrick Mahomes, but will this team continue to win with Travis Kelce?
I mean, that is a very valid question, because Travis Kelce is their offense, basically.
Yeah, how many catch? Hang on, let me look something up real fast.
Yeah, no, I agree with that statement. Like, we saw last night, the other receivers, they had big plays. Like, looking at yards and stuff. Juju, 7 catches, 53 yards. Outside of that, 18 yards, 15 yards, and then Travis Kelce with 81 yards.
Yeah.
One of the things that I was very surprised about, though, with the Chiefs last night, they had a run game. They had a running back who was running that damn ball hard too. Yeah. He was making people miss, and he was trucking through people.
So, in case you were wondering, here is the stats from this season for the receivers. Let's see. I'm gonna start with. There's only. How do I want to do this? Let's go by receptions. So there was only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There were 7 guys with higher than 20 targets, 20 receptions. Starting, Marquez Valdes-Scantling had 42 receptions for 687 yards. Jerick McKinnon, 56 for 512. Juju, 78 for 933. Travis Kelce, 110 for 1338. If Travis Kelce leaves, you're relying on Juju Smith-Schuster. Their second highest in receiving this season was a running back. Third highest, not second. Third highest.
So, I think if the Chiefs want to continue this dynasty, they're gonna have to do something with the receiver. They need to get a true wide receiver one, not this great value Walmart fucking receiver.
Especially if, I mean, they're fine for now until Travis decides to say, "Hey."
Once Travis Kelce leaves, man, they're screwed. Like you said, their third best receiver on the team was a fucking running back.
Yeah, and Travis is 33.
Yeah, he's getting up there in age. Granted, he's gonna play until the wheels fall off, but like
he's probably gonna play for another 2 years. That's my guess. Is he plays for another 2 years?
I can see it.
He plays 2 more seasons.
He's probably gonna try and he's gonna get that dynasty. As soon as he gets that dynasty, whether that's next year, I think he's out.
Yeah, but you had asked me earlier about Travis Kelce being about being a first ballot Hall of Famer. I'm gonna redo this because this I think solidifies it more. 2-time Super Bowl champion, 4-time first team All Pro. 3-time second team All-Pro, 8-time Pro Bowler, 2010 All-Decades team, and that was for college.
Yeah, he's
a first ballot. I didn't look up Jason. There's Jason's
Gronk Kelce.
Ooh, that's a
Gronk Kelce. I'm gonna stick with that. Gronk number 1, Kelce number 2. And honestly, if Kelce keeps playing the way he's playing, Kelce will top him.
So I have no problem with you saying Kelce at 2. However, I think you're forgetting about somebody who actually probably should be number 1 over Kelce.
Tony Gonzalez, Shannon Sharp.
Definitely Tony Gonzalez needs to be talked about. He's still the one that holds the record for most reception yards, receptions, and touchdowns for a tight end. All three of those stats go to him. He holds the triple crown for tight ends.
Yeah, it's impressive. But to be fair,
he was a 14-time Pro Bowler, 6-time first All-Pro, All-Decade team.
Yeah, that's crazy. But you got to also think, I think Travis Kelce can get there.
I think he can too. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely think he can. But I think, I think he is the number one tight end. The tight end position has changed a lot more too, especially these last couple of years. They're using him a lot more, and I think
the tight end is transformed into basically another receiver.
Yeah,
That's pretty much what it is
for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think he's number 2 right now. I'll beat him. I'll have him over Gronk, but I don't think he is number 1 yet. I still give number 1 to Tony.
I can respect that.
Yeah. I thought I had another question for you, but I can't remember what it was. It was
I don't know, man.
It was something. That's gone now. But
can just keep chugging along because we're probably at about half an hour now.
What are we at? We're at 26 minutes. Yeah, about. So we want to switch over to our next topic. We kind of talked about this game quite a bit. Talked about future teams quite a bit. We want to switch over to what we got to experience when we got to go out to Los Angeles.
You're about to say Vegas, weren't you?
I did. I was looking at the next year already. Yeah.
What, you trying to hit us something?
I mean,
live from the Super Bowl.
Listen, if it happens,
that'd be some shit, man.
Speak it into existence, and it shall happen. That's all I'm saying, man.
That is true. So last year, I actually won tickets to the Super Bowl through the NFL, and I was able to take Shawn and I got, permission from the wife, of course. She was the one that said, "Hey, take him," because my wife doesn't really know shit about football. So,
thank you, Courtney.
Thank you, Courtney. Yeah.
Thank you, Courtney.
So honestly, one of the greatest experiences in my life.
Oh yeah,
it's gonna be very hard for something to top obviously, I'm about to have a kid, so let's top that and we get married, As far as sports though, I think I'm gonna do sports. Cubs World Series, Colts Super Bowl, and then going and experiencing what the Super Bowl had to offer and all the events surrounding it.
I'll say, and most of the biggest fun, I don't even think was actually, this is going to sound so weird. The biggest fun we had, I don't even think was actually at the Super Bowl. Like, don't get me wrong, it was an incredible atmosphere, and especially the fact that the home team was there. But we had so much fun just being in LA. We got invited out to events with FanDuel. We got invited out to that. We got to meet Pat McAfee, AJ Hawk, and his whole squad. We got to see, I always like to tell a story. I start off by saying, I got to see something so ridiculous that even saying it out loud just sounds so stupid.
You're not wrong, man.
We got to see, who was it? Terrell Owens, and I cannot remember who the defensive lineman is, but he's a Hall of Famer defensive lineman, Ed Reed. Terrell Owens and Ed Reed play beer pong against Wiz Khalifa and Ludacris.
Joe Montana was there. Yeah. Emmett Smith, Brian Urlacher.
Yes, we got to see who the actor from Blackish. I cannot think of his name. Anthony something, and Joe Montana. Anthony Mackie is Captain America.
Let's see.
Anyway, the actor from Blackish. We got to see him play bags against Joe Montana.
Mm-hmm.
And Brian Urlacher and another was it Brian Urlacher and Emmett Smith maybe? I don't know. It was a crazy. We got to see so many incredible Hall of Famers and celebrities. But Brian Urlacher was playing basketball tic-tac-toe against, I believe it was Emmett Smith, where he just absolutely showed that in college he was a D1 college basketball player where he just sank 4 straight shots and won it in 4 shots. So,
but one of the cool things about that was FanDuel gave so everybody that was there, they had them log onto a website and you got points that you could gamble with.
Yes,
and
it's not legal.
Points.
It's not legal to gamble in California, so that's why they have to give us points, not money.
Yep. So you would you'd bet on this person's gonna win, and you could put down as much points as you wanted to.
Yep.
Most points, I think, got a prize
depending on how many points you had, you got cash out prizes for betting.
Yeah. I didn't get shit, obviously.
I think I won $5 because I went all in on Brian Urlacher, so I think I won $5 or something like that. But. Yeah, just absolutely incredible experiences. Because then even after, I always love to tell the story. After that, I remember Wiz Khalifa and Ludacris did their concert. They did a little concert thing. and we left during Wiz because I kind of wanted, or left during Luda because I wanted to see a little bit of Luda. Yeah, but we got to see Wiz perform his full concert. And when he first walks out there, I'll never forget this. He goes, "Yo, who got the dankest shit in this building?" And this one dude screams at the top of his lungs. He said, "Let me try your shit." And he takes it. And he goes, "Man, this shit bad as hell." And he gives it back to him. Then continue to smoke his own. It was amazing. So just like little stuff like, because it was not a big venue. There was probably 200 people there, if that.
There was more. There was probably like 300 or 400 people there.
I'm talking just in like the main area because they did the VIPs and there was probably like 100 people.
Like 200 to 250 in like the
standard area. Yeah, because we didn't get VIP because you had to pay for that, but we got invited out by FanDuel for free. After a certain point they opened up the bar for free, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. Yeah, because it
turned into an open bar like halfway through it.
Yeah,
free food.
Yeah, we got free food, free open bar, and there was quite a few places. I tried a donut place. I can't remember what it was. There was a burger place. It's a pretty big burger place, and now I can't think of what it was.
Shake Shack.
Yeah, Shake Shack. There we go. So I never had Shake Shack before, so I got to try Shake Shack, and I got to do this and that, and it was just an incredible experience. That was just the one FanDuel event. We just talked for 10 minutes about FanDuel because the one of the events we went to, because we did other stuff too. We went through an event with the NFL where we got to meet who did we meet? We met Tariq Cohen.
We met
Pity.
Yeah, Kwity Paye, the defensive end for the Colts.
And I had their autographs up here somewhere.
Yeah,
I can't think of them all, but so we got to do that. We got to meet them. We saw Chad Ochocinco play Madden against a random fan. Got to see who was
we saw the Lamar Hunt Trophy.
Yep.
The
George Hallis,
and then we also actually got to take pictures with the Lombardi Trophy that was presented.
Later.
To the Rams, which was
2 days later.
Yeah, which was an awesome experience.
I wish I would have uploaded the photos to my computer real fast so we can like splash them on screen and like show people the stuff we got to do.
It'll be on TikTok.
Yeah, maybe that's what we'll do. Maybe we'll actually like fully edit this video and I'll put photos up so people can see the stuff we did. But at one point, when we got in line for the Super Bowl to see the trophy, to see Lombardi,
it's like a 2-hour line.
Yeah, it was like a 2-hour
special passes. And we went to the front of the line.
I have a video of us walking back from it. Because literally, we were the only people even in like this sort of like fast pass style line. And so we walked up there and they were like, okay, it was like our wristbands had a ticket for the Super Bowl, for the Lombardi, and then for an autograph where we could just fast pass to the front. And we went and we fast passed to the front of it. And they didn't even take it. I still have mine. Hold. Keep talking.
I actually think I do have the wristband that he's talking about. But yeah, it was such an awesome experience. Like they had all these different like helmets on display. They had all the Super Bowl rings on display from the past years. They actually had a locker, I think from every single team as well. Yeah. Like with their most popular player at the time.
Yeah.
And they had like a full recreation of their locker, which is like a really awesome looking thing.
So here's the bands we got. We got these special bands. I hope it kind of renders in right. But, we had these Super Bowl extra bands, and there was one tag like this that was for the Lombardi to visit it, and then we had this one for an autograph signature pass, so we could skip to the line at the front of the autograph. I don't think we ever used it because we were going to use it on Chad Ochocinco, and they cut the line off right as we got in line, and so we weren't able to skip, so that was kind of done. That's what I was trying to think of. We saw Trevor Lawrence signing sandwiches.
Yes, you're right, we did.
We saw Trevor Lawrence signing Subway sandwich. What?
One of the most random things I've ever encountered.
It was funny because they were asking people, "Are you gonna eat the sandwich or are you gonna just keep it?" It was like,
wait, so when we went to get signatures from all the other players and stuff, somebody brought their signed Subway sandwich from Trevor Lawrence to get signed by all the other NFL
I remember that
too.
He had like 6 or 7 signatures on it. We talked to him for we talked to him for a little bit, but he had like 6 or 7 signatures on it. And it was the most randomest stuff, but it was incredible. And, they had different, I don't know what you talked about while I was gone. I heard just maybe a little bit of it. But they had these different, stations set up, too, where you had to scan. I actually still have the tags on my phone still from the NFL, the one pass.
Nice.
But there was like different stations where you scan like a QR code and eventually you got stuff. And there was like trials almost, I guess is what you could call it. Almost like a combine thing where you kind of went around and you tried to see who could get the fastest record on this or that. And with our passes, we had unlimited fast pass to everything. We just kind of walked up and we're like, oh yeah, do it again. There was one I remember. It was a scramble quarterback drill. If you remember that one. I remember I beat you on that one. I liked that one.
I think I beat you on quite a few of them though.
You beat me.
I'll let you have that one.
I think the only other. I think you beat me in the field goal kick. I know. I think I beat you in the race. Or that one was really close. 1-2.
I don't remember.
I think I beat you in throw accuracy, and I beat you on throw and the run accuracy. I think those were the two I beat you on.
I think that sounds about right.
Yeah, so I'm more accurate than Jeremy. That's basically the moral of the story. Even when I'm running, I'm more accurate. And I'm faster at it too, because I remember my time was like 5 seconds faster on the scrambling one. I really wish I would have uploaded the videos. I meant to do that so that way I could just flash them on screen and just be like move us over and just have it here and just be like, yeah, this is what this was, and it was incredible. And I still have my Tariq Cohen shirt signed that I have to frame yet. It's literally sitting right here on my desk.
Dude, I remember Phil kept asking me. He's like, man, should I get this shirt signed?
No, it was my hat.
Like the only shirt I have, and it
was my hat.
It was yeah. He's like, I don't know if I should. I can't wear this hat anymore. And I really like this hat.
I have my. What year was this? This was the draft hat from 2017. I believe it was my graduation year, and I've always loved this draft hat. And I went so far as to look on eBay and anywhere else to see if I could find somewhere that sold the hat where I could just get it. Because I was just gonna have him sign the hat. And I was wearing my Khalil Mack jersey, if I'm not mistaken, because that was when Mack was still with the Bears. And I was like, wait a second. I have a Bears undershirt on. So in the middle of the thing, I just ripped my shirt off, and I had him sign the shirt that I had been wearing all day in sunny California, where I was probably covered in sweat. I haven't washed it, so that's probably the reason why my room stinks, because it's been sitting in here for a year now. But, yeah, that was our first day, too. That was right after we landed. We landed
and went straight there, basically.
Yeah. Because California is an interesting place. It is an interesting, because before,
to say the least, yeah.
Because we had a certain time that we could go in, and we tried getting like a little bit of a later time because we knew we were flying in that morning, and so I remember we went to go get our rental car, and then we drove up to Hollywood, if I'm not mistaken, right? We drove up to Hollywood. We didn't go up to the Hollywood sign, but we saw it. And then we kind of started getting to West Hollywood, and, I saw a dude stick a needle in his arm, and I said, yo, we gotta go. I said, we gotta turn around and walk back. So we turned around, walked back, and by that time, we kind of we saw some of the walking. I think I have a couple photos from some of the bigger name actors that I recognized, because we weren't, in the main heart of Hollywood. Yeah. But, so then we got back in the car and drove back there. So we had been walking around in sunny Hollywood area for probably two hours. We had been walking around out there.
It was some time, yeah.
And then before we finally went to the convention center, and then we rented bikes or scooters? Bikes, I think.
It was a mix of bikes and scooters.
Well, we
forgot to wear jerseys, so we walked all. It was probably a mile. We
got
all
our jerseys we forgot? No, we forgot
the first time. We forgot the first time. It was like, shit, we're not wearing our jerseys, so we had to go all the way back to the car. We went all the way back. Yeah. Shawn forgot something.
What did I forget?
I don't remember what he forgot.
Was it my wallet?
Something.
It was something.
Your COVID.
Yes, it was my vaccine card.
This dude forgot that because they required it, so he had to by himself ride the bike all the way back to the car. And
this was the second trip I had, because it was probably a mile and a half bike ride. Because originally we had the scooters, and the scooters stopped working as soon as you got close enough to the convention center. So we got there and we were like, crap, we don't have our jerseys on. So then we rode back the mile. And then we got all the way to the convention center, and I saw the line, and I saw someone pull out their COVID card. And I was like,
shit.
So then there was a bike rental right there from the city bikes, and so I just rented a bike real fast, drove the mile and a half back. I had quite a few people honk at me because I was just hauling, and I didn't care about nobody or nothing. I was like, hit me, I don't care. I'm just hauling through the city in Los Angeles. This was over. Where is this area? Where is that convention center at? I don't remember. Oh, it was by the Lakers Stadium. It was right by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you.
Because we had talked about for a brief. It was by Crypto Arena.
Yeah.
Because I remember, after this we'll talk about that. But I remember, so I ride all the way back from that area on a bike, And then as I'm coming back, I've got my stuff with me. There was people passing out some sort of energy drink. They're like, "Hey, you guys want to try this energy? You want to try this energy drink?" And they've got like armfuls. There were like 3 of them, which is armfuls and baskets full of it. And they were like, "You want to try one?" And I was like, "Yeah, I got one. Can I get one for my buddy too?" And they're like, "Yeah, here you go." I don't even know what the brand was this day. I keep thinking it's citrus because I think the cans look familiar, but I don't think it was citrus. It was some sort of natural energy thing though. But I just took it from some random strangers that were all wearing the same shirts. That was probably not the brightest idea in the middle of California. But is that Wrigley? No, it's Clark.
Clark.
Yeah, so I just hauled my bike around to what area is that? I don't even know. South Los Angeles, maybe East Los Angeles, somewhere in there.
I don't know, man. I don't know LA that much.
The historic South Central, according to Google Maps. Although it looks like it's really right in the middle of Los Angeles. We're by the Arts District. There we go. For anyone familiar with the area, we're by the Arts District. And after we left, because we stayed there for quite a few hours, even after we really could have just left. Oh, your camera's freezing. Oh boy. Oh boy, Jeremy might be crashing. Oh, there he is. Okay, we're back. We're good. We stayed for we got there around 3 o'clock or something like that, and we didn't leave till 7 or 8.
Yeah,
we left kind of late because it was dark when we got out. Because we were like, we were walking and we saw the lights on at the crypto arena, and we're like, hey, let's see how much tickets are real fast for the game. And we found 2 tickets for $38 or something like that. And we're like, yo, you want to go see a Lakers game? Because screw it, why not? But it was the third,
like the fourth quarter.
I'll say the third quarter had just ended, and they stopped letting people in at the end of the third quarter. So had we left like 10 minutes earlier, we could have spent $20 and bought 2 tickets super cheap and just walked in just to see the last quarter or something like that. Because neither one of us are huge basketball guys. I still support the Bulls just because it's a local team, and I know what's going on around the league. I know LeBron just broke the scoring record and whatnot. But neither one of us really cared. So we were like, yeah, if it's cheap, let's just go in and do it. And we were about to do it, and they were like, yeah, we can't let you guys in. So we were like, well, thankfully we didn't buy the tickets. But yeah, so we didn't even get back to the Airbnb until like 9 o'clock.
Yeah, it was like 9 or 10 o'clock until we got back.
Our Airbnb was over in it was an incredible Airbnb, if I remember right. It was north of LAX.
Yeah, it was like right. It was like 8 minutes away from LA.
Yeah, it was. I forget what the area was actually called. Culver City. We were staying in Culver City, by Mar Vista, and we didn't get there until like 9:30 or 10. It was like because just to get like that far took so long. Like I think I drove from there to the Airbnb, and then Jeremy put me on the 405. And at one point, I looked at him and said, "Get me off this fucking highway." Like I've driven on,
not a fun time.
I've driven on 8094, but the 405 was awful. Like it was. People always like joke like, "Oh, 405 is just gridlock." No, it was actually gridlocked. And it was like 9 o'clock at night. I'm like, "Where's everybody going at 9 o'clock at night? Go home and go to bed." Like I'm an old person at sometimes. I'm just like ready to go to bed. So we get back. So we stopped. I don't even remember where we stopped. We stopped at some random Mexican place north of Culver City.
Yeah.
Because I just told you.
Good.
It was good. It was great. I wish I could remember what it was because I would like to recommend it to somebody. But it was pretty decent. It wasn't far from our Airbnb, but we got there, and then the next morning we were going to Disneyland.
Yeah, so we had to get up at like it was like 5 or 6 in the morning. We got up, and then we had to drive to Anaheim.
Yeah, we drove the hour to Anaheim.
Yeah, 45 minutes to an hour.
We didn't even. Did we stop for breakfast? We meant to stop for breakfast.
I
don't think we did.
I don't think we did.
But we rope dropped Disneyland, and stayed the entire day at Disneyland. Did both parks in a single day. That was a stressful day. Like I've done Disneyland and Disney World now. And I don't, even though you can do Disneyland in a day, I would never want to do Disneyland in a day again. I would rather take 2 days and take my time. Because even though we did everything we wanted to do, I think the only thing we missed was the Cars lights turning on. But we saw like the very, very end of the song. And I kind of wish
we tried running across the entire park.
We were running across the park. I remember because we were over in, because let's see, we were actually in Disneyland, not California Adventure. Because we were waiting in line for Space Mountain. And they were it's like a 30-minute wait or something like that. And then the ride went down while we were in line. We sat in line for an hour and a half, and then we got off and we're like, yo, the show starts in like 5 minutes. Run. And so we ran across the park, and of course we missed it by like just that much. But we spent the whole day there, waited until they closed, and then drove back that night. And the next morning was finally the first morning we had where we weren't up at like we weren't just out doing something all day. Like that was our one free day we had.
Yeah.
And
So what did we do? We decided to bike to Venice Beach.
yeah, we biked all the way to Venice Beach from Culver City because we wanted to work out on the gym. We were like, yeah, we'll work out like on the beach because that just seemed like the best idea. And I want to know how far did we bike? It was a pretty long
I think
bike
it was like
ride.
a 6 mile bike ride.
It was pretty decent on a bike. Because I remember we had to kind of like we were in Playa Vista. I'm like zooming in and everything's like coming back to me now. Yeah, let's see. How long of a bike ride was that? It was 4 miles. It was a 4 mile bike ride that we took. And then we got there and we were like, yeah, we're going to work out at the gym that's right here. And it was closed because of COVID.
Yeah.
So we're like,
fun.
well, crap. So then
So we just started walking around.
we
Venice
watched the
Beach,
skate park.
Yeah,
that
that's skate park. We watched it for a solid like
It was like at least an hour.
5 minutes to an hour of just people skating. Which
Yeah.
was really cool.
It was incredible because like I remember there was one dude who was like doing jumps over the railing. He was there was another kid that was trying to do some other crazy kid stunts. Like this was a kid younger than me. He was like 8, 9, 10, something like that. And then we biked the rest of the way down to Santa Monica Pier. Didn't even make it to the end of the pier because we were both hungry at this point. And so we
we stopped at one of the fish places.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can figure out what the fish place was. Because I don't even think we Del Piero Pier? Prior? No.
I guess yeah.
Or
I think that's what it was.
the Albright, something like that. Somewhere in that area. It was one of the first couple shops because that was all the further we made it down. And then we ate, and then that's when you saw the invite to the FanDuel event. So then we had to walk because you had to go so far to actually get to
An Uber spot.
Yeah, an Uber spot. So then we had to walk down to where their train was, their like metro line, and wait for the Uber. And then it probably took 20 minutes to actually get back to our Airbnb, which it probably would have been faster for us to just get on a bike and go. We both showered real fast, took another Uber into like downtown LA area again for this event, did the FanDuel event, came back, and like I remember that morning because it was our one rest day. The host of the Airbnb was outside watering his plants because we were like saying like some sort of back garage thing for him, and he was like, "We wondered if you guys ever showed up. Like we saw your car, like we didn't see your car come in, and then your car was gone. But like I came in to like check that the code was used, and like the code was used. He was like, we didn't even know you guys had been here because you've just been gone the whole time. We're like, yeah, we've been doing this and that, and just trying to make the most of our time." And that's exactly what we did because then we woke up the next morning and we had our bus pass to get to the stadium, which the bus, oh my gosh, that bus took forever.
Yeah, it did.
That
Well, it's because it was just so crowded.
Oh, yeah.
Or you're talking about two or from?
Two.
Both
took
two?
forever.
Yeah. So two, we waited in line to board the bus for like.
Yeah, we got
30
there.
minutes.
We got
Not
there
too bad.
early because we wanted to make sure we got on the first couple buses, and then we got on like the 5th bus.
Yeah.
We're
So
like,
we
yeah,
got
we'll
there,
get there
we
like
got
2
the
hours
bus,
early. It'll be fine. No, it was not fine.
Started driving, and then once you started getting closer to Inglewood and Stadium, it was just so
It was
much traffic.
gridlocked.
Like we sat in traffic for probably like 45 minutes. Luckily, we made it there, and then when you got into the like thing they had
The
going
venue.
around outside of the venue, they had like a section for like the Chiefs, or not the Chiefs, the Bengals fans. They had a section for the Rams fans, and they were doing all like these chants and stuff. They're like cheerleaders.
I remember that too because the Chiefs fans were the loudest ones. Bengals fans, yes. Actually, I still have the towels hanging up on my wall right here.
They're right there. Yeah.
Honestly, they gave us towels and for just going out and like being over there. So we have one of them. It says Super Bowl 56 on it. It says Rule It All. It's in orange, and then there's another one that says Super Bowl 56 that's in blue. They both got the Rams and Bengals, respectively. But that was fun just to be around because like I had my Joe Burrow jersey on, so like everyone was kind of with me at that moment. Because I even told you, I said if Joe Burrow ever makes it to the Super Bowl, I'm buying a Joe Burrow jersey. And then he made it, and I was like, well, shit. And we were going, so I was like, I'm going to get the one with the Super Bowl patch on it. So that's my Joe Burrow jersey. But it's the only jersey I own of a player that's still active on that team. It's that okay. That's just a crazy thing that I have because I have so many jerseys. But yeah, so that was because we got there relatively early. The kickoff was at like 4:30 or something like that, LA time.
Kickoff was.
It was early.
3:30 LA time.
Yeah, and then So we got there. We were there probably at like 1 o'clock, something like that.
Yeah.
And so we just walked around the entire stadium, saw all the different shops, bought a couple stuff, obviously, because once in a lifetime bucket list experience thing.
Exactly.
Saw the game, and then the next morning we both flew out, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Because I told you were supposed to go on a cruise too.
I canceled a cruise because of the Super Bowl, but we got it okay, and we
did.
went on. Me and the wife went on 2 cruises last year. So
what's funny is the day of his cruise was the day that he flew home from LA. I was like, bro, just get an early flight from LA to they get there and just be done with it. Just get there land there, meet her at the airport, and just go on the cruise right afterwards. And he was like, no. And I was like, you could have made it work. And he never made it work. But we had a later flight that day. We didn't really do much that day. That was like our one day where we kind of just didn't actually do anything. But yeah, so just it was an incredible experience, a once in a lifetime experience, and an experience that no matter how many times I say thank you to you, it won't ever be enough.
Until you repay the favor.
Yeah, until I repay the favor. In my defense, I paid for your Disneyland ticket. So that made me feel a little bit better, but obviously it's not a $4,000 ticket. But yes, I mean it was an incredible, definitely a bucket list experience for any sports fan, and I'm ready to go back because this whole week we were both like, it feels weird not to get on a plane. I kept getting my memories on Snapchat and Facebook of like, hey, you were there, and even Super Bowl Sunday morning, I didn't tell you this. I looked up how much tickets were. I was like, man, if they dropped,
they dropped in price, yeah.
I mean, yeah, but still, they were $3,000 morning of.
$3,000.
If I would have sold 2 tickets or something like that for $385, I would have booked them and told you to get on a fucking plane.
Oh my god.
I would have, even if it was $385 a piece, I would have bought them and said, get on a plane to Arizona, next flight out. Like, I don't care when you go home, but next flight out, we'll worry about an Airbnb when we land.
Damn straight, man. Well, next year,
Las Vegas, baby. Vegas.
Speaking of that, they released the logo of it. They still kept with the
Hold on, I didn't see
skyline, kind of thing. Looks really cool.
53 logo.
2024.
You sure?
Yeah, the NFL.
Oh, I put 53, 58. That's what I wanted.
So basically, it has where the NFL posted it. The welcome to Vegas sign on it, which iconic, of course.
I see a couple of these. I don't know which one of them is actually real. The
NFL posted it.
Oh, speaking of Vegas, one thing I think we do need to mention before we end the podcast today: Derek Carr telling the team he is not going because he has a no trade clause. Telling the team, I am not going anywhere. You decide to trade me, you are going to have to cut me.
Yep.
And that's seeming exactly like what's going to happen.
Pretty much in the coming days, because he's guaranteed like $40-some million in the next week or so. So any day now he's gonna get cut.
Oh, is that what?
But yeah. So I found what it looks like. They got the Super Bowl trophy in the middle.
Yeah, I'm just gonna take a snipping tool of it and I'm gonna pop it up. Oh, ignore that right there, fans. I'm just gonna take a snip of it.
He's trying his best. Don't worry. But yeah, honestly, I'm liking the way the new logos look.
I like them better than what they were doing.
Yeah, with just the silver trophy.
Yeah, that was lame. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. I hated it. I'm just gonna save it as SB. And then y'all are gonna have to bear with for a second. I think this is the one I want. And
He's about to graduate and still take his time.
Easy. Oh man, listen, I might be about to graduate. Doesn't mean that things don't pop up where I don't want them to.
Fair enough. Yeah, looks good. Like I said, I'm liking the way it looks. So.
All right, here we go.
And especially it's gonna be in a brand new stadium too.
Yeah, that's exciting. So there you go. That's not exactly the best place I would put it. Maybe I'll zoom it in a little bit. There we go. So that is what it looks like. I do like it. Looking at it, I think it actually looks really cool.
I like the purple and the red in it.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I centered it right. I didn't know which one I wanted to center it on, but we got it in the first try. Yeah, I think it looks really cool. I like obviously the iconic welcome to Las Vegas. Definitely going to be enough hotels this time. Not going to have to worry about getting a hotel.
100%. It's not going to be an issue at all.
Yeah. But I guess before we end, since we're at the 55-minute mark at this point, we do have a little bit of an announcement sort of thing. So we're gonna go back to the double screen here, so we're being a little more serious. A little serious here. Yeah. We are not sure if we're gonna keep the 2 days a week going, especially kind of during this little lull that we have here before baseball starts and before the NFL draft. We're gonna try and keep bringing you guys content for 2 days a week, but if it doesn't work out, it's because there's just not enough content. So
yeah, we're in that kind of
that lull
middle part, that holding stage where it's just like baseball's about to happen, and then also
football just ended. XFL starts Saturday.
XFL starts Saturday, but NFL Combine starts in 3 weeks.
Yes, so obviously this isn't going to be a long lasting thing, but for a little while, it's very possible that we only put out one episode. We aren't sure what day it'll be. Maybe we'll put it out on Wednesday, or it'll be sometime, hopefully closer to the middle of the week. So keep up on TikTok and Twitter. That's probably where we're going to post our updates of, hey, podcast is going to go live on Wednesday. Or we're going to have, hey, we are going to do two podcasts this week because we have enough content to fill. Yep. So we would rather bring you guys quality content over a quantity of content.
Yeah, couldn't set it better myself.
We both agreed there. We don't want to just put out content to put out content. We want to put out stuff that A, we're proud of, and B, that we think people are going to like to hear and like to enjoy. And so if there's nothing to report, probably only going to do 1 week because it's not much to report. Meanwhile, if there's a lot that we can cover and we can split it into a 2-hour segment, then we'll do a 2-hour segment. Not a 2-hour segment. We'll do 2 1-hour segments, rather. So, yeah, make sure you give us a follow on Twitter and TikTok. That's probably where we're going to be posting updates. We posted our first TikTok today, right before we went live. We actually posted our first TikTok at The Unprofessional Experts on TikTok. Give us a follow, share it, repost it, whatever. We love you guys. Thank you all for listening. Make sure you follow us on all platforms. We're still working on getting Apple figured out. That will be Jeremy's homework. But
hey, one platform at a time. We got TikTok up and running now.
Yeah.
So we'll get Apple started.
Instagram will be done for sure today as well, just because that one's also super easy. So we will be on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. All 3 of those are where you can keep up to date with where we're going to be posting. Apple Podcast, hopefully by Friday. I'm giving Jeremy the deadline of figuring it out by next episode. Yeah, you have a deadline. Figure it out, because you use Apple, I don't, and I'm pretty sure you made the account, I didn't. But iHeartRadio, YouTube, Spotify, share it with your friends, subscribe, follow, hit the bell, like button, all that stuff. Share it with your friends, your grandma, your mom, everybody and anybody. Repost it, anything, you guys. We appreciate it so much. But you have anything else to add?
Nope, man, that's about it, man. You guys, y'all just keep chilling. You keep watching the show.
Yeah. All right. Until then, see ya.